These 5 guitar players played classical guitar either before, during, or after. They were some of the biggest names in the electric guitar world. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how the classical guitar actually influenced their playing overall. So if you want to find out who they are and find out more about them, stay tuned and let's get started. So this video is kind of a part 2 to a video that I posted a little while ago. You'll see it pop up over here in just a second, but it will also be linked down below in the description if you want to check it out. Anyway, so the first guitar player on this list is going to be the guitarist from Animals' leader, Tosin Abasi. Now, in the previous video, I did mention the guitar player from Animals' leaders, Javier Reyes. And when I was making it, I was trying to find stuff about Tosin Abasi as well, because I had an idea. I thought that he played classical guitar, but I couldn't find anything. However, when you guys started commenting down below that Tosin plays as well, I just had to dig a little bit deeper and I found out some stuff about him. There wasn't much, but this is what I found. The first thing I found was from Tosin himself, saying that he is primarily self-taught, but however, when he was at the Atlanta Institute of Music, he studied jazz and classical guitar. So you heard it right from him that he did have some formal classical guitar training, even if it wasn't that much. The other one that I found is an interview where he is giving his top 5 important tips for guitar players to get better. And number 3 was that they should learn classical guitar pieces. Tosin himself says, "I also think it's important to learn some beginner to intermediate classical guitar. The open right hand is an underutilized part of electric guitar playing. In my opinion, whether you want to play rock or bluegrass or folk or flamenco, learning these pieces will help." He then goes on to suggest some pieces that he thinks fellow metalheads like himself will enjoy, such as Las Abejas and La Catedral by Agustin Barrios. Now, I couldn't find any videos of him actually playing classical guitar. However, the closest thing I found is a video that he posted to his Instagram of him playing his 7-string fan fret electric nylon string guitar. In here, you'll see some classical guitar technique in there, not a whole lot, but check it out and let me know what you guys think. So the next person on this list is somebody that I actually really knew nothing about until making this video, mostly because I'm not into that kind of music, but I should have been because I was very impressed when hearing some of these songs, and that would be the guitarist Steve Hackett from the band Genesis. Of course, people who are fans of this band probably already know that Steve Hackett had some classical guitar chops and was overall just an amazing guitar player. But many people don't know that he actually played more than just some classically influenced stuff on the songs. Some of the songs you can hear this on are songs such as Blood on the Rooftops, and there's even a video of him demonstrating some of his classical guitar techniques.
Right. Techniques of mine that people have named years after the event, sweep picking. It's just basically a way of picking across the strings. And so if you're using 3 strings, for instance, it will be...
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This doesn't really seem like classical guitar just yet. It just seems like someone with a nylon string guitar playing some fingerstyle stuff, and maybe they have some control over the right hand. But hold on a second. Later on, after Genesis was done, he actually released a tribute album just called Tribute, and these are some of the selections on it. A tribute to Bach, a tribute to Segovia, a tribute to Agustin Barrios, a tribute to Granados, and even a tribute to Rodrigo. And yes, he's playing pieces by these original composers at a pretty high level, I would say. Check out his tribute to Bach for a second. For me personally, when looking into a guitarist in a rock band, I did not expect them to be playing classical guitar like this. Does that mean they're the best classical guitarists in the world before you guys start going judging them? No, probably not, but honestly, in my opinion, it sounds pretty good. The next guitar player on this list is the guitarist Lifeson from the band Rush. Again, another guitar player who I didn't really know anything about until looking up into this. I even have some old Rush CDs back at home that were my dad's, but I never listened to them. But I'm disappointed that I didn't because, as you guys are going to see, he has some pretty interesting classical guitar chops. Maybe not to the same degree of someone like Steve Hackett, but he does definitely have them. How I know this is because in an interview, Lifeson actually stated that he started playing classical guitar and taking classical guitar lessons right around when he started taking guitar really serious. And you can even hear some of the classical guitar influence on some of Rush's songs, such as A Farewell to Kings, Bruin's Bane, and The Trees. Check out a little bit of A Farewell to Kings and let me know what you think. So as you can see, it's definitely not some crazy classical guitar playing. It sounds mostly just like some chords with some finger picking done, but you definitely can hear the influence. You definitely can hear that it's somebody that has control over the right hand, which definitely came from his classical guitar influence. The next guitar player on this list would be the guitarist Steve Howe from the band Yes. So in an interview, he mentions why he thinks he had such control over his left hand when playing electric guitar is because he learned the importance of left hand fingerings from playing classical guitar. As you guys know, if you play classical guitar, is that by using left hand, we have to decide which fingers are going to do what, and mostly decide that based off what sounds the best, what's musically going to make the most sense. And Steve Howe definitely did this in his electric guitar playing as well, and I'm sure it's in there because someone like him to even say that definitely shows he has an understanding of his left hand technique. Now, when people who are Yes fans think of Steve Howe playing classical guitar, the one that comes to mind usually is going to be the song Mood for a Day. So as you can hear, this song is definitely being done on the classical guitar, and it sounds like some classical guitar technique. Again, not incredible like we might have heard in the past from somebody like Steve Hackett, but it's definitely there, at least in my opinion. Now, outside of that, Steve Howe is also known for being that guitar player who could add that Spanishy classical guitar flair to other people's songs as well. The most notable one that comes up for me would be the Queen song Innuendo. Now, when listening to those two songs, you might be thinking that that doesn't always sound much like classical guitar. Maybe classically influenced, but it sounds more flamenco influenced, right? But there's one more thing I found, and that would be a video of him playing the Vivaldi concerto in D. So whether you like it or not, or you think it's good or not, you can't argue that Steve Howe is just such an incredibly well-rounded musician. And part of why I think Yes was as big as they were, because they had somebody like Steve Howe in there to contribute all other styles that at the time most other rock guitar players really didn't know or understand. And finally, the last guitar player in this video is one that I actually meant to include in the last video because one of my students told me about them and I just forgot to include them, unfortunately. That guitar player would be the guitarist Jason Becker. Now, if you're a fan of shred style guitar and metal guitar, I'm sure you of course already know who he is. But for those of you who don't, Jason Becker alongside of Marty Freeman were some of the two original shred guitar players. Jason Becker was interesting because not only did he play electric guitar very, very well, but there are some recordings of him even playing classical guitar at a very young age and playing it very well, at least in my opinion. Now, before I show you that though, some things that you can hear his influence of his classical guitar playing in would be his song Air. Now, just like some of the previous guitar players, some annoying classical guitar players might hear that and think, you know, that's not really classical guitar. He's not a classical guitarist. But check out this recording of him playing Villa Lobos Prelude 1 when he was only 15 years old. Now, if that's not classical guitar playing, then I don't know what it is. So that's all for this video. If you think there's anybody else that I left out, let me know in the comments down below. It would really help me out a lot. But definitely check out the first video first, so that way you're not saying someone who is in that video, and yeah, you know what to do. Anyway, if you guys are new here, hopefully you will consider subscribing to the channel and checking out other videos of mine, because overall, I just want to reach more people and help spread awareness of classical guitar and just make some more classical guitar content for you. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.